welcome to the workshop on opportunities in Germany for research scholars and young scientists. I'm Dr. Deblina Ray, an associate prof in Amity Institute of Biotechnology, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh. Now, I would like to invite Professor Vishwajit Saha, an Alexander von Humboldt Fellow and Professor in Amity Institute of Biotechnology, for his opening remarks and welcome address. Dr. Saha.
Thank you, Deblina. Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Vishwajit Saha, Professor in Institute of Biotechnology. On behalf of MIT University, our respected founder president, sir, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, our Chancellor, sir, Dr. Atul Chauhan, our Vice Chancellor, ma'am, Dharmendra Shukla, our Proviseli, sir, Dr. Chandradip Tandon, our HOI, Dr. Puja. I welcome all the esteemed delegates, Ms. Nurupa Dikshit, Program Director, DAD, New Delhi, Professor Romita Tanda, first Humboldt Ambassador Scientist in India, Dr. Vaibhav Agarwal, Deputy Director, DFG, Dr. Poonam Sangalsuri from the Max Planck. All welcome. It is my pleasure to welcome all the participants to this workshop to research opportunity in Germany, specially designed for doctorate and young scientists who are actual crucial state of shaping their research careers. Germany stands as a global hub for high quality research and innovations, supported by a strong network of university and well-renowned fundings. Organizations such as Humboldt, Alexander von Humboldt Foundations, German Academy Exchange Service, DAD, Max Planck Foundation, German Research Foundations, DFG. These institutions provide exceptional opportunity for fellowship, funding, collaborations, and access the world cutting-edge research infrastructure across the wide range of disciplines. In this regard, I like to share my experience in Germany. First, I got this Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship in 2009 and joined Technical University Chemnitz with Professor Klaus Banner. There I was privileged to get excellent research environment along with the scope and social networking. Alexander von Humboldt Foundation has a slogan, once Humboldtian, always Humboldtians. So in this regard, Alexander von Humboldt Foundation support me, not only during my postdoctoral research, but also establish my lab in MIT University, provide the instrument grant and purchase for high comments. So additionally, I would like to specially mention that our honorable founder presidents are also a DART fellow, and he got this fellowship and pursued postdoctoral PhD from chemical engineering from Germany. And he always encourages us to support our research and do the international collaborations. So that's why I have established strong collaborations in Germany and have a strong connection with German professors. In this regard, Alexander von support me lots. I got the Alexander von Humboldt renewed fellowship 3 times in 2015, 2018, 22. And this time also, I like to also happy to inform you that I'm also going Germany in the next months and in the University of Regensburg. So today's workshops aims to guide you through the opportunity leading, helping you understanding various fellowship programs, research grants, collaborative pathway available in Germany, whether you are looking for a pursuit doctoral or postdoctoral research, establish international collaboration, enhance your academic profile. Germany, our high, supportive, and dynamic research environments. Many of you could may be the beginning of your transforming academic journey, not only advanced research, but also expand your global perspectives and professional network. So I encourage you all actively engage, speak the speakers, ask questions, interact for your research field, and how can you enhance your careers. So thank you all. I wish all the highly informative and inspiring sessions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saha, for detailing the workshop. Now I would request Professor V. Puja, Director, Amity Institute of Biotechnology, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, to address the gathering.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ray. I hope I'm audible. Okay. Once again, on behalf of Honorable Founder President Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, Chancellor Dr. Atul Chauhan, our Honorable Vice Chancellor Madam Dr. Balwinder Shukla, I take this opportunity to once again welcome our esteemed guests who have joined us today for this very important workshop on opportunities in Germany for research scholars and scientists. Mrs. Anurupa Dikshit, Program Officer DARD, Professor Amita Chandra, First Ambassador Scientist in India for Alexander Humboldt, Dr. Vaibhav Agarwal, Deputy Director, DUSH German Research Foundation, DFG, and Dr. Poonam Sehgal Suri, who's representing Max Planck. Thank you so much once again for coming. We have had a wonderful discussion in the morning when we met over a cup of tea. And that is when I realized that not only science, but students of humanities and other areas are also highly funded by these organizations. And that is why we requested students of other streams other than science and STEM to also reach out and attend this very important workshop. India and Germany has had a very strong and long-lasting partnership in science and technology. We know our honorable founder president has always emphasized and his love for Germany. We know how important it is to his heart that our students should get global exposure. And that is the reason why Amity University has campuses across the world to give opportunity to our students to reach out to these global hubs for research, technology, and other, innovations. We emphasize on research. We emphasize on, collaborative research, bilateral research. Reason being, it is very important for our students and scientists to have this global exposure to increase their, length and breadth, to understand what the world is doing so that we can enhance our research endeavors in our country to support our country in this domain. And taking this forward today, I'm at the Institute of Biotechnology with the help of Dr. Viswajit Saha, our very own Humboldt scholar and fellow, wanted to do this workshop to help all our budding scientists, you young PhD scholars, and our faculty members who could participate in this workshop to take the best out of it. Today's workshop is majorly to make you understand the opportunities that all these funding agencies are providing so that you can start planning your next path in your research endeavor from now itself. They are extremely supportive. And I'm very sure that if you make up your mind and tomorrow you want to apply to these funding organizations, they would be more than happy to support you in all in all your paperwork, in understanding how to go about it, how to get these scholarships and fellowships to the best of their ability. And that is the reason why we wanted all our research scholars and our young faculty members to attend this workshop to find out all the possibilities which are available in Germany. Looking at the economic, changes that are happening, the geopolitical changes that are happening in the world, we realize that a lot of students and a lot of faculty members who are looking for postdoctoral fellowships are looking at Europe as one of its preferred destinations. Earlier, we know all our students, a lot of our faculty members have been in other countries, particularly the US, the UK. But today, a lot of our students are looking at Europe as a preferred destination. Germany has always been supportive to Indian students, and that is why I think the financial burden for a student in Germany has always been the least. The tuition fees has always been the least. Because Germany has always been very, very proactive and welcoming to international students. And today, I think when you interact with our esteemed guest, you would understand more about these opportunities, which would help you in designing your path, for the next phase of your life. So with these words, I once again welcome all of you. Thank you very much for sparing your time. And thank you to all of you for attending this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your views and insights about the workshop. I would now request Professor Dr. Chandradeep Tandon, Additional Pro Vice Chancellor, Dean, Biosciences and Biotechnology, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, to address the gathering.
Thank you so much. Is it working? Thank you so much. Same. Anyways, very good morning to all of you. Great to see lots of our eminent, brilliant research scholars here from, as Dr. Pooja said, from not only from biological sciences, not only from the Faculty of Bioscience and Biotechnology domain, from the various domains. Thank you so much for all of you being here and all your choice. So on the behalf of our most revered founder president, Sir Dr. Shokya Chauhan ji, our dynamic Chancellor, Honorable Dr. Atul Chauhan ji, respected Vice Chancellor Madam, on my own behalf, on behalf of my all colleagues, I once again welcome our esteemed guests, Mrs. Anurupa Dikshit, Professor Amita Chandra, Dr. Vaibhav Agarwal, and Dr. Poonam Sehgal Suri. Very warm welcome to you. Let's clap for all of them. And when I met them again, so it was nice to see that we could recognize each other. We met each other online also. Vaibhav could easily recognize, and so could I. My recognition power is equally as good as yours. So having said that, always it's a proud feeling when our own faculty members like Biswajit Saha is my colleague since last many years now. I remember when I was director of AIB, that time also you got this opportunity. Which year was that, Dr. Saha? 2018. 2018. Sit down, sit down. So this is your second visit? Third visit. This is third visit to Germany once again as a Humboldt Fellow. And Amity University has had four, including him, three more. Late Dr. Ajit Verma ji was also Humboldt Fellow. And Dr. Suresh Chandra ji from AIS is also Humboldt Fellow. And also Dr. Rajendra Prasad from Amity University, Manesar, is also the Humboldt Fellow. So it's always, very proud feeling, a nice feeling that we are having lots of collaboration with Germany. And not only this, we are having various funded projects also with Germany collaborations, because I keep on evaluating projects, Indo-German and other countries also. And as Dr. Pooja rightly mentioned, Germany today is one of the global leaders in higher education, innovation, and advanced research. And that supports more than 100,000 international students and researchers, which will be very nicely going to be explained by all our esteemed guests today, various opportunities also. The German Research Foundation, DFG, funds thousands of high impact research projects and international collaborations every year. And we all of us are very well aware of the fact that our honorable founder president, Sir Dr. Shokya Chauhan ji, spent 30 years in Germany. And he's a person, he always, I remember him saying, maybe Dr. Pooja, you also would be agreeing with me. He says he thinks in German, then he translates it into, Hindi or English. So this is the kind of influence, Germany has on his outlook. And he is a great philanthropist, a great educationist, and a wonderful human being. We all of us know that. He's a person, along with our Chancellor, Sir, who's driving a whole Amity universe forward. We are so thankful to you, Honorable Founder President, Sir. Germany strongly promotes Indo-German scientific collaboration through research mobility, joint projects, academic exchange, long-term partnerships. We all know that. But now, I would also like to apprise all our esteemed guests that Amity is a research and innovation-driven university, and we have to our credit. We, these days in newspapers we keep on reading that all private universities keep on filing patents. But how about the patents being granted? Amity University has filed more than 2,800 patents in various across all the disciplines. And we have a very robust IPR cell led by Dr. Smita Sahu. All of scholars also know it very well. And Amity University has been granted patents to the tune of 470. 470 patents have been granted to Amity University across Amity Universe. And our H index is also, is on very fast growth trajectory. It is soaring always. It is 200 plus. We have so many funded projects from various funding agencies. So university today is You must be knowing our NRF ranking, National Institution Ranking Framework, is now 22. We are always, on the this growth trajectory, and the day is not far when, with the contributions of all our scholars, MIT University will be at the top. This is the vision of our Honorable Founder President, sir, our Honorable Chancellor, and everyone who is sitting here. I can see lots of brilliant scientists here, O.P. Sanaji, Girish, Abhishek Saxena, so many people are there. And recently, Dr. Nidhi will agree with me. Dr. Nidhi, two important things, very important, achievements for MIT University. Amidst all other achievements are MIT University has been granted very prestigious DBT BioNest innovation, the incubation cell, and also Dr. Nidhi had recently got two industry-funded projects to the tune of 2.5 crores, along with her co-PI, Dr. Mariam. So just to give you a few examples, so with this, I once again welcome all our. I can see lots of chairs being laid out again. So that means we are expecting more scholars to take advantage of this very important enlightening session. Thank you so much once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening speech. I would like to mention that our Honorable Vice Chancellor, ma'am, Professor Dr. Balvinder Shukla, ma'am, can't attend this event, but she actually inspires us a lot every time through his valuable thoughts and the ability to address the gathering uniquely. Now, coming to the next session, I would like to invite the moderators of this session, Professor Puniti Mathur, Deputy Director, MIT Institute of Biotechnology, and Professor Simran Tandon, Director, Research, MIT Institute of Molecular Medicine and Stem Cell Research, to introduce the speakers.
Thank you, Devlina. So now let's start the actual show. So we'll now request Mrs. Anurupa Dikshit to kindly address you first. Mrs. Anurupa completed her MPhil from JNU in German literature, and she's been working with German Academic Exchange Service, that is DAD, since 2008 as Program Office Scholarships. She is responsible for all long-term scholarships that are offered by DAD, and she takes care of the Southeast Asia, which includes India, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. So it's a pleasure for us to have you with amongst us today, Mrs. Anurupa. And I would request you to please come forward and address our eager audience. So once we'll have all the talks, I think then we can have a moderation where everybody can ask questions and we can expect our guests to answer them.
Yeah, thank you. ऑडियो है मैम इसमें Good morning. Thank you for inviting us for this session. It's good to be here to see so many students. I do a presentation. It's a short one. And then whenever you have the Q&A, you're very welcome to ask questions. The more questions, the better it is for all of us to answer. And with questions come clarity. So study and research in Germany is what I'm going to talk about. So what is the German Academic Exchange Service? It is
it works in these three strategic fields: recognizing and supporting potentials worldwide, strengthening the strategic academic network, and providing expertise for international relations since 1925. So last year, the DAD completed its, should I? Okay. It's 100 years, and at the same time, we completed 65 years of existence in India. So we give scholarships and grants for all disciplines at all stages. So in 2025, we had more than 4,500 scholars which were funded, and we also have a lot of cooperation projects which keep on working, and it was 50 which we funded, which the DAD funded, and we have 4 offices, in one in Bangalore, one in Chennai, one in Pune, the one office is in Delhi, and plus the Delhi office also houses the German Center for Research and Innovation. Apart from this, we have one office in Colombo and one in Dhaka. So, in Germany, there are 3 types of universities. You have universities and technical universities. So all basic fundamental research happens at universities. That's the traditional format of university. And then the technical universities are more involved in technology related research. Apart from that, we also have universities of applied sciences or Fachhochschulen. There, for example, automobile engineering is a subject which would be researched at a University of Applied Science. And for example, design and certain other fields would also be available only in the universities of applied sciences. Then, of course, we have colleges of art and film and music. So basically, what we talk about currently, where students can go, are the universities and technical universities. So this is where all students can do research at universities, technical universities. Then you can also do research at non-university research institutions. For example, Max Planck, we have someone here. We can also Helmholtz, Fraunhofer, Leibniz Association. So there is a wide network of non-university research institutions where you can also do research. Being registered at the university, you can do the research at these institutions. And there is also a lot of industrial research. So if we see the kind of research which happens at university, majority of it is industry driven, unlike in India, unfortunately. Now we'll come to our flagship program, which is a PhD in Germany. So there are 2 ways of doing PhD in Germany. One is the traditional way, individual PhD, the way we do it in India, directly under a professor. You have a topic which you decide, you discuss it with the German professor, and you apply for that. Apart from this, there is another format which is called the structured PhD, where positions are already offered, because a lot of these structured PhDs are doing research in those topics or those fields which the industry has contracted the university to do research in. So you have positions, you apply to those positions, and then you have certain format. This structured PhDs are for 4 years. There's coursework, then there is interdisciplinary research format. Then it is also that you work in a group of students who are doing similar research. And then this is ideal for those people who would rather work in a group than work as an individual. So individual PhD, there's no coursework. It can be more than 4 years that you are able to complete your PhD. You only have you and your supervisor to deal, because there's no one else working in the same field. And it needs high motivation and self discipline to be able to manage. So these two formats are available. Both are equally recognized and carry the equal weight of a PhD. So it is not that structured PhDs are less valid or individual PhDs are better. So it depends on, sometimes structured PhDs offer exactly what you want to do, and in individual PhD, you don't possibly find a professor who do maybe research in the same field. So these are the non-university research institutions: Max Planck, Helmholtz, Leibniz, Fraunhofer. I think someone might know where the MP3 format was found or invented. That was at a Fraunhofer Society um, lab. And apart from that, there are other institutions which are specially for a individual state in Germany. But if there is any confusion, one can always check with us. We'll let you know. So going to these institutions, you're very welcome to do your PhD here. Register with the collaborating university, because they are not allowed to grant a PhD to you. So now this is the possibility where how you can find a host. So in structured PhD, you don't have to find a host. You have the position in case of uh, an individual PhD. You have to look through journals, publications where your kind of research is published. Professors at your own institution can be of support. Apart from that, if you have seniors who are already in Germany researching, they could be very good source of information, and websites in any case. And we also have these links which you can use to search. This is not only for PhD, but also for later research. So now we'll talk about a DAD funding opportunities. We have funding opportunities for students, for graduates, doctoral students, postdocs, senior scientists, and faculty. So we will let you know. These are the programs which we offer for a master's degree. For bachelor's, we don't have many scholarships apart from a summer holiday course for those who know German, or who's studying German, or who are studying German at the other side. So we will not talk about these programs, because today we will um, restrict ourselves to PhD. So our three programs for which you can apply in our flagship program, uh, research in Germany. These are a doctoral, a PhD, a full PhD program where you can either do an individual or a structured PhD at the German university or technical university, or at one of the non-university research institutions. Then other option which is very good, which I would really like to promote here, is the binationally supervised doctoral degree, or the COTUTEL. This program is for those who are already registered for their PhDs here. A lot of times people finish their at masters and they do something else, and then later on register for PhD. This is for those people. This is to do your research for 1 to 2 years in Germany, part of what you are doing. That is why it's also called the sandwich model. You start your PhD here, you do.
Sorry, I would like to add to it. UGC recently started, initially, MIT is also, participating in that. It's called, there are two programs. One is joint PhD program, other is dual degree. So we have recently signed MOU with the University of Oulu in Finland, where our students are getting registered for joint PhD programs. Is it possible with Germany also?
No, right now there are no dual degree, joint degree programs with Germany.
It's not
Of
there
any
as of
any.
now.
If you start with it, of course, then your students can go under the COTUTEL part of this
Okay, so
program.
UGC has just,
But
it's encouraging.
yes, it is.
Technically, it is very much possible, but then the interaction has to happen between the universities. The funding agencies have no role to play in this. So if your counterpart university in Germany is willing to have a dual degree or a joint degree program, it's most welcome. Many of the German universities are doing that. RWTH Aachen University has with IIT Madras, University of Cologne has with the Pune University. So this is happening, but it's still in the infancy state. But it's very much possible between the universities.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We are going to sign an MOU.
So Anupam, I'm just for my clarity, when you say binationally supervised doctoral degree, you said the student should be already registered in another
Right.
country. Say, for
In
example,
India, in
in
India,
So
we
the
just
student who's registered in India, he's already undergoing his PhD.
yeah.
Now, in this binationally supervised, the guide of the student will have to look for a partner in Germany, and then it goes
Not
on.
necessarily the students themselves can find if the Indian professor has connections. It really helps because then one step is already taken, and then they do part of their PhD. So they start PhD here, they do a part of their PhD here, come back, consolidate the research and submit. So here the proposal which will come has to be very clear about why you want to do that part of research in Germany and how it is part of your ongoing research.
Uh, Another question, I'm sorry. So in that case, you would need a letter from the host
Yes,
stating that
yes.
number one, you are ready for this. And also in case, say for example, we know somebody there in the sense that we know that there is a XYZ scientist who's working in a German institute, which is very close to what we are doing or, something that we would like to collaborate with that scientist with. Can DAD help us to, get us in contact with that person whom we have identified? Is there a possibility like that as well?
Not really.
So we need to look for the
Yourself. Yeah. So all our individual programs, all these three programs, the applicant has to find a host in Germany on their own. We have the links which we just shared. More than that, people, if they want some guidance, they can connect with us. If they are facing some problem, we can, but we will not find a placement. Yes, this is an individual scholarship. We are DAD scholarships here, which are we are talking about our individual scholarships. The student directly applies to a professor with the letter of acceptance applies to us, and it is the application does not go through the institution. Yeah, it's an individual program. Now, you're welcome. So now, since last year, we are also offering this research grants in Germany program. Again, this is also for PhD scholars to do research for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, up to 12 months. So one can apply here. Although I would say all those people who are registered for PhD should go for the binationally supervised doctoral degree. There is more possibility of getting funding here. So then the research grants, but that option is also there. Um, last last round, out of 114, we gave one scholarship. This round, out of 117, we'll give 4 scholarships. So, but for research, binationally supervised degree, we always give 14, 15 scholarships. So that's way better. And it is also to build a bridge between your institution and the German institution, two professors and coming together. I mean, TU Darmstadt had a professor who sent a student to Germany, then continued building, and then later on, he was invited to be the external examiner for a student who came from Vietnam and was doing a PhD with a DAD funding tool. So it really builds a lot of programs, and this works very well if the Indian side also collaborates well with the German side. Okay, so our doctoral program, some more details can be at any individual university. Sorry, I didn't see you. So this is a program for those who are currently completing their masters, would complete masters in May, June, July, to do a PhD in Germany, for all those who have already completed masters, and the master's degree award is not older than 4 years, 3 years, sorry, 6 years, they can all apply to do a full PhD. I don't know. Right now, the stipend is 1,400 euros with insurance and flight money and a language course, but it might change because Germany is also slowly becoming more and more expensive. Cost of living is difficult. Uh, so either you have a master's degree or you are going to finish your master's, and the last degree award, that is master's, is not older than 6 years. You do a full PhD in Germany for 4 years. But if you have to continue after that, you would not get DAD funding, but you can still continue and finish your PhD. You can always save on the stipend and do that later on. So this is what you get. You get a German language course, you get an insurance, you get lump sum travel subsidy, and a stipend. DAD takes care of its awardees very well. If we have time, I can tell you what happened during COVID. Okay, so binationally supervised doctoral degree, you can again go to do part of your PhD research at any university or non-university research institution. Maximum duration is 2 years. Initially, you apply for 1 year, and then you extend same benefits as in other programs. And your PhD registration. Now, this should be the formal PhD registration after your synopsis was approved. After all the formalities of registration and PhD are completed, then. So, you will have a German professor in Germany supervising you with the research you have started with the Indian professor. So, this is not a program to start a new, fresh PhD. It is only to build on your PhD. So initially 1 year, but maximum 2 years. Similar benefits. There are no changes. Same deadline, 21st October. So deadline of October this year means that you can only start with your research next year, October onwards, because we need almost 6 months to prepare, and then there's a language course and there are other things. So it takes that kind of lead time. Now, research and grants, this is for, again, same PhD registered scholars to do a part of their PhD in Germany, 2 to 12 months. Same, I'm sorry, we got the wrong deadline here. The deadline would be earlier in October, 7th October. But anyway, before you start applying, you can always check the announcement on a scholarship database, because it's going to be updated in, I think, June. Then everything would be actual, what it is, the current status. Okay, again, same PhD registration should not be older than 3 years. You can work at any university or non-university research institution. It's a joint supervision. Again, doesn't need to be a joint supervision agreement. That is not required. People apply to the German and Indian professor have to just agree to work on the same project. Same value. Sorry, the deadline was wrong there. It is twice a year, so 7th of October and 3rd of April. But everything, current details would all be available on our website. So we also have another program, which is for those who have completed their PhDs and would want to go to Germany to do a postdoc. The duration is 2 to 6 months, and the restriction here is that your PhD award should not be older than 4 years. Then you can apply. Everything else is the same. It's the same place you can go to. The duration is 2 to 6 months. But if you want to do a postdoc, I would rather suggest you apply for a Humboldt Foundation scholarship, because once a Humboldtian, always a Humboldtian. Yeah? And a rich one, yes, true. You get more opportunities to go to Germany afterward. Yeah, that's what he did, yeah. Okay, same amount of money, everything else is same here. Okay, for bachelors, we have one, just to sum it up, we have only one short-term scholarship, which is a university summer course, HSK Hochschul course. Then at masters, we have limited scholarships, but please keep in mind that we don't have anything in STEM, IT, management, medicine, pharmacy. We don't have any scholarship there. For PhD, you can apply to any subject. Those who want to do PhD, but who have, or those who have started doing their PhD can also apply, and those who are would wish to go to Germany for a shorter period can also apply. So this is our online application portal. If when you start with the application, that's where you will reach, and these are our links. The scholarship database is funding-guide.de, the third one, and that's where you will go to apply. That's where the application will start. And these are our contact details. Myself, Anurupa Dikshit. Then I have my colleague Rashi Khanduja. She will does the similar work. We work together closely. And for any general queries, you can write to info.newdelhi@dad.de, and our website is dad.in. And I thank you now for listening and your attention. Do we take the questions now or later? If there are any questions from all these I think we had a question here. She had a question here.
It was really nice information, ma'am, collated in very crispy manner. Well, my question is regarding IP. Say if it's binational PhD and the work has already been started by a person in one country, and by that time the talks with Germany has not started yet, right? And after say 2 years or 3 years, it comes up. Some supervisor gets finalized, but the roots are from the previous work. Then what?
When you apply for this scholarship, at that time your contact needs to be there already. But in future, if you think that you are talking to some professor and the contact will materialize after certain amount of time, then at that time the student can apply. But student is restricted because the PhD registration cannot be older than 3 years. Your connections with Germany are a different thing. They have nothing to do with uh, having these connections. It is good if some professor has Germany connections, like Professor Ajit Verma was very well connected to Germany, and so was Dr. Rajendran, who came from JNU, where I met him and worked with him. Not my own subject, but other. So they had good connections, and they could always say, okay, you connect with this professor, and it is for the professor to say, okay, I have possibility, I can take a student or I can't take a student, because it cannot be that I call one professor, I connect with one professor and he already has 5 research scholars under him, and he says no, but then one looks at other options.
So the legalities of IP in case of binational PhD are well set.
See, at the end of the day, you do research in Germany and you come back and you submit here. MIT will grant the PhD. And Germany is governed by very strict privacy laws. We had one workshop 2 days ago only to tell us what we can share and what we can't share. And the same things are also applicable to students. You can't first plagiarize work, very, very strict there also. So your research is not going anywhere. It's your name.
And there's one more query.
May I
Yes,
answer
yes,
briefly?
yes, sir, please.
Regarding the IP issue talking about, this is something which the funding organization has nothing to do. This is an internal matter between the two PIs who are involved, and they have to settle it out however they want to do that.
Right.
Because our role basically stops at the time the funding is released.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Just one query related to the prior pool of scientists who have already been into collaboration with countries, say specifically India, and also the industries from Germany who have been into collaboration with Indian students. So is there any pool available?
Industrial research we don't fund because industry is rich enough to support students. And also, anyone who applies for industrial research maybe also needs to be working in Germany. Only then they will get funded. So that portion we don't look at. We don't have a pool of professors who will accept students, although there are some professors who accept a lot of students. The different story that few get scholarship, it's also that they're collecting manpower. So one has to be very careful. The students are not going there to do labor for lab work for professors. Students are going to Germany to do research on their research, what is ongoing here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Suppose I want to apply for a research grant in Germany, short-term research grant. So, what should we do to make our application strong, and what is usually the success?
You can make a application very strong with a very good proposal, but I would suggest if you're already registered for PhD, then apply for the binational program, because in research grants in Germany, the short-term program, we don't know how many scholarships are there. I said out of 114, one, out of 117, four. So that is this year. Funding situation is not very, it's a bit of bleak outlook. What we will have next year, we don't know how much money we will get. So you should apply for the binationally supervised doctoral degree if you are eligible.
Can be applied in the middle of the PhD also.
Yeah, PhD registration should not be older than 3 years. So if I'm sure then you are in middle of your PhD.
Thank you.
Rupani, just one question, though I know the answer, but still from your side more convincing. Is it that there is special emphasis on specific subject or discipline in Germany, or it is uniform across all the disciplines?
We as a scholarship giving agency don't look at any subject. We look at how the proposal was, how the interview went, and how did the applicant perform. So we only promote academic excellence across any subject. So it doesn't have to be only sciences, it can be social sciences. You can also go to do research in law, pharmacy, medicine, and master. At PhD, there is no limit, no restriction. Restriction is the right word.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other question from our research scholars or faculty members?
I think the questions will come late. It is fine. Let everything sink in first. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Professor Amrita Chandra. She did her undergrad and postgrad and her PhD from BHU and subsequently went to the Max Planck Institute for Solid State Research at Stuttgart, Germany as an Alexander von Humboldt Fellow. She later joined Punjab University, which also happens to be my alma mater, and Delhi University, where she is a senior professor in the Department of Physics and Astrophysics. She has been the first Humboldt ambassador scientist to India from 2006 to 2012 and the DAAD research ambassador from 2014 to 2022. I would request ma'am to kindly. नहीं ये नीचे वाला खोल दीजिए फुल स्क्रीन
ऑडियो है इसमें?
नहीं नहीं So good afternoon. I can't see them. So I'm here in my capacity as the former ambassador of the Humboldt Foundation. First, I must clarify that I was there a long time ago, and subsequently, many more took over the job. And currently, the lady who takes care of it, Professor Joy Ghosh from IIT Delhi, could not come. And Biswajit knows me, I suppose, since the days he got his Humboldt Fellowship, and hence he was kind enough to invite me. I currently do not hold one of the positions that these ladies here hold, but I was once a Humboldtian and will remain always a Humboldtian. So I begin with the first slide says that excellence connects. And this is a unique foundation. As I proceed, you will see how it is unique. On it? Up, Charlie? Carry on. Okay, now is it okay? Better? Okay. Good. So in this slide, you will see there are these red, yellow, green, blue dots which show you the research and teaching landscape of Germany. These are the universities, the Leibniz Institute, the Max Planck Institutes, the Helmholtz Institutes, and the Fraunhofer Institutes, all of which some do applied research, some do basic research, but all of them do research, and by the way, excellent. This slide tells you that there are so many opportunities for you to go anywhere in Germany. There are currently 80 Max Planck Institutes physically located inside Germany and 5 outside the country. There are 57 Fraunhofer Institutes which do technical scientific research, which is industry oriented. Max Plancks are mandated to do basic research. That's where I did my postdoc almost close to 40 years ago now, looks like. No, 30 years ago. And there are other institutes as well. All this is just running you through information that you will already find on the internet. These institutes, these places you will find just to give you a glimpse of the opportunities that you have and where to look for a probable host. Those of you include Biswajit will recognize this building. This is the headquarters of the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation in Bonn. As you know, all the funding agencies, because the capital of Germany used to be Bonn, all the funding agencies are still located in Bonn. Berlin is now the official capital of Germany, but none of the offices have moved there. So who was Alexander von Humboldt, on whose name this foundation runs? Just a few lines on that he was a traveler, a person who came from an extremely rich background, almost a small state he owned, the family owned, the Humboldt family owned. And he was still a traveler, somebody who wanted to do research, discovered many species of plants and animals. And what was most important, that he taught the scientists to document whatever they found. So documentation of observation is what he believed in. And then Humboldt, of course, then later passed away. And after the Second World War, his friends and family contributed in a major way to found the current day foundation, the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation. And this is since Alexander von Humboldt himself traveled across continents, this was a foundation which encouraged, or rather
was founded only for building international network, and later stages it started funding Germans. In the very beginning, no German scientist was funded by this foundation. Now here is a slide which says that how to become a Humboldt Foundation fellowship holder. The sole selection criteria is academic excellence. Nobody is sponsored because a person comes from a particular country, a particular region, or has a particular gender. Nothing is of importance. Only what is important is what has been your credential till now. T is equal to 0 starts now. So you can get in touch with cutting edge researchers at various stages, as I will tell you in the next few slides. And especially for us who come from India, there are no quotas for countries or such, which means annually, roughly, the Humboldt Foundation gives 500 or a little less, since many of the fellowships have been diverted to the distressed scientists in Ukraine. That's a temporary thing. Otherwise, roughly 500 fellowships are awarded annually by the Humboldt Foundation. And these fellowships can all belong to one country, hypothetical situation, one subject, and the foundation would not bother. The first 500, whoever they are, can be any subject, can come from any country, will get the fellowship. That's how it works. So there are no quotas that 50 for physics and 30 for chemistry and so on. All 500 can be sociologists, all 500, or let us say 250 can be chemists, which is the largest pool in our country also of the former Humboldt Fellows. So you see, here only excellence will matter, and always it is good to have a good basic educational profile. Good basic educational profile means your bachelor's, master's should be of high level, and your good PhD. You are free once you have a basic good educational profile. You are free to choose your post and where you want to work, and subsequently you can change your post. I personally have visited more than 30 times, and I've changed my host across the geography of Germany. So you see, there is no foundation, like Biswajit said, once a Humboldtian is always a Humboldtian, and therefore you carry your fellowship all your life. You have the money, you never have to think about it. You just put in a one-page application for your subsequent visits, and you will be sponsored if money is available, or next year's salary. That's how it works. So this is how the worldwide network of Humboldtians has been created. They meet once in a while also. And perhaps the only foundation which has amongst its alumni 63 Nobel laureates. The sponsorship, like I said, is for foreign, and now since the last 20 years, German top flight academics can also visit different countries using the Humboldt Foundation's money. And as you must have gathered, it's a very prestigious fellowship. Once you know that, when somebody knows that you are a Humboldt Fellow, they look you with a different scale. Like, it's a very proud feeling to be a Humboldt. Once you reach there, you will know you are taken care of. Somebody from the foundation will personally take care of you, call you, see that everything is in order, you have a house to stay, your insurance is taken care of, your family is well taken care of, your children are going to school, and all this is taken care of by the foundation. So you are really looked after. What are the sponsorship programs? So this is not for really the early career researchers, like this is not for PhD students. This is a postdoctoral fellowship and for young faculty members. That means if you have done your PhD about 4 years ago, you can still apply for a postdoctoral fellowship, or you can apply for a junior research group as a junior research group leader if you have done your PhD 6 years ago. Or if your young faculty have done your PhD 12 years ago, you can still apply. Research fellowship, you can have a 1-year fellowship or 1.5-year fellowship and make, suppose you're teaching somewhere, you can take leave only for 6 months, come back and teach and then go back. Everything is in order. You can still do all that. And when you become even more senior, you can apply for the Humboldt Research Award, which actually you don't really apply, your German host applies, and that's how it works, but that's for a later stage. Like I said in the earlier slide, it's worldwide, the competition is worldwide. That's the only issue. The AD fellowship, you give an interview in India. The Humboldt fellowship, your application goes to Germany, and that's where you have to be in the first 500 in the world, globally. Then you are there. And doesn't matter what subject. Then there's another fellowship. Fortunately, India does not qualify for this fellowship because it is for developing countries. And in the scientific landscape, India is considered developed. Economic and scientific landscapes are different. In the scientific landscape, we do not qualify for certain fellowships. These fellowships can be for 6 to 24 months, which means you get it for about 2 years, and then you can take it in 6 months duration. You take it for 6 months now and then later, and that means up to 3 to 4 trips you can have once granted the fellowship. Similarly, for experienced researchers, you can get a maximum fellowship for about 1.5 years, and you can take it in installments of 6 months. Once you become a Humboldtian and return to your country and join as a faculty member or a researcher in your own country, you can now invite Germans to work in your laboratory, and for that, you just have to give a consent to your German counterpart, and that person will be funded by the Humboldt Foundation, and that person will be called a Federlinen Fellow. Once again, it has no quotas, it's worldwide, and you as a host have to be a Humboldtian, and you will also get some financial recognition from the Humboldt Foundation, monthly stipend. The application requirements are simple. You must have a doctorate. If you are a young researcher, just completed your PhD, submitted your thesis yesterday, you have a thesis submission certificate. But you do not have a degree because the reports have to come in your YY. You can still apply for the Humboldt Foundation. It is very much possible that you will be given a Humboldt fellowship, but you can avail it after your final YY. We will wait for that. Is this part clear? Many people get confused that I don't have a degree, but you still have a certificate which says your thesis has been submitted, right? You can apply for that. And then, of course, you need an academic host which has given a consent that you can come to his or her lab and work with them. And the two of you, your host and you, must have agreed on a research plan. You have a good amount of good papers. Good amount means 2 to 5. If you're a young researcher, it's not expected that you will have 10 to 20 research papers. Then again, there is something changed. If you have good quality publications, I know of somebody who had only 2 publications and was on Humboldt. So you have good quality publications as a PhD student, and you're a fresh PhD student. You do not really have a very lengthy research profile. It's brief, but high quality. And so, if you do, at least English you must know, and in case you are interested in learning German, you will be paid to stay in a German language school and learn German as well. It's good to know German, although I'm bad at that, but still you can learn German, for which you'll get a fellowship, which will be separate than your Humboldt fellowship. Humboldt postdoctoral fellowship. Same is true for the experienced researchers, except that you must have a comprehensive list of academic publications, because you have already spent up to 12 years after your PhD, and hence you already have some respectable research profile, and that is how you can, the other criteria remains. The application you can send to the Humboldt Foundation any time of the year. The selection committee meets twice a year only in March, July, and November of every year. And once your application reaches there, it takes from 4 months to 7 months for you to get a reply back. Yes and no, both is informed. You become rich in terms that it's a tax-free fellowship and a substantial fellowship. I mean, it's more, it starts at 3,200 for a young researcher. So you can only imagine that it's a lot of money. Besides this money, you get other benefits as well. Your insurance is also subsidized. You get a family allowance. If the children accompany you, then another allowance comes to your kitty. Then your travel expenses are taken care of. And then you, of course, you travel a lot in Germany in terms of study tours, networking meetings, and annual meeting. This is the only fellowship whose fellows get to meet the German president, the federal German president, like our Draupadi Murmuji, you get to meet in his residence. Annually, you go there and you meet the president. You're taken on a cruise. It's a very nice tour. Then alumni sponsorship, you get book grants, you get equipment grants, and you get return fellowships like the one Dr. Saha has got. Some facts about the Humboldt fellowships and fellowship holders in India. Only about 2,400 fellowships have been granted to India in all subjects since the foundation came into being. This number might look small, but it is ranked 4 in the world still. Only 3 countries are above us: USA, China, and Japan. We are ranked 4, and we have what is called the award winners. The Humboldt gives recognizes very distinguished researchers in terms of awards, and we have 37 award winners. When I was a Humboldt fellow, all 4 directors of the 4 old IITs were former Humboldt fellows. So that's how the fellowship is recognized. Although every 7th application is from India, the success rate is rather bad. The people who come to India is even smaller. 2,400 have gone, and only 18 German fellows have come to India as Federal fellows visiting former Humboldt fellows. This number also should increase gradually. We have a lot of Humboldt alumni networks and clubs or what are they called? Colleagues. No, not colleagues. Associations, Humboldt associations. And we have about 18 Humboldt associations in India, which means former Humboldt fellows get together in every city. We are the alumni network currently registered. You all do understand many of our former fellows have passed away, like late Professor Adit Verma has recently passed. So 1,560 are still part of the alumni network in the country, and we currently have 4 ambassador scientists to take care of the 4 geographical locations of our country. This is how bad the situation is in terms of humanities and social sciences, engineering, and life sciences. Most of the fellowships have come to natural sciences, although the fellowship is open to all. And that is why I requested when we came here that we should invite people, that this is a foundation which funds practically everybody. You might as well be an excellent flute player studying Indian classical music. You might find somebody to collaborate with and do research with in Germany, and you can be funded. It will be looked forward to. And hence, please, look at this statistics, not a very encouraging statistics in terms of life sciences, engineering, and humanities. Do see every discipline ends with the science, with the word science. We do not call engineering a science in India. We have recently started calling arts as humanities and social sciences. Everything is a science, and logical thinking is what is science. And please this is how even the German landscape is, that everything is science. And please do encourage your friends in case they are there in other subjects that they can also look up this fellowship. It's an association of a lifetime. You can revisit, you have alumni network. And once you are there, and you will, once you become a part of that alumni network, you will see how closely knit the whole system is. How do the obvious question is, how do I find a host in Germany? So I think that the German DAD has DFG probably has made this, yeah? DFG has made this database of scientists where you can choose your geographical location in Germany, in which city you are looking for a host, or you can put in a discipline that I'm looking for this discipline and look for a host. And I have to just inform you that most applicants do not get a response from the German host, prospective host, because they write, as we are taught in school, dear sir, madam. Nobody in Germany reads a mail that comes as dear sir, madam. Please address the person. If you are applying to me, please address it to me. Dear Professor Amita Chandra, I am this and this, and I'm interested in working in this and this. I have read your research profile and I'm interested. I can contribute in this way. This is my brief CV. Please write appropriately, otherwise you are unlikely to get a response in any one of the fellowships that you intend to get. That includes a research project, that paper funds, or what the Max Planck does, or what Anurupa funds. The contact is this. The Alexander von Humboldt Foundation is in Bonn, like I said. This is a very famous building. All the former Humboldt fellows have been there. And in case there are any questions, even after today, you can ask me. I will at least try to answer them. I'm located at the Delhi University's Department of Physical Studies. Thank you. No questions? Vaibhav, ये तो मस्त professionally must.
Ma'am, just one thing, just to clear. What about those who have PhDs before 12 years?
Then you, yes, I do understand. There are people who have got their PhDs more than 12 years ago. Unfortunately, the foundation cannot sponsor you, but I think the DAD has a program for senior scientists as well. It used to have, at least. It used to. Oh, yeah, that's also used to. Then also the doors are not closed. You get in touch with the German professor. They have funds.
Okay, that kind
They
of
have their
individual
project funds.
funding.
Huh?
Kind of individual funding.
Individual funding. If you know somebody and he's interested in your work, they'll fund it.
Okay. Thank you.
DFG supports projects. Now Weber will tell you how to reach Germany.
Okay. Thank you.
That comes at a very later stage where you're recognized in the world as a leader of your field. As a leader of your field. No, it's not an age criteria. It's your achievements, research profile.
Ma'am, sorry, ma'am. One part from my side too. So again, after 12 years, I think there is a one scope for a women scientist. There's any research fund regarding the women scientists there for like a collective program with the German?
Okay, let me clarify. There is no separate program. There is no gender-based program, but the Humboldt Foundation is liberal.
Okay.
In the sense that it can relax. If you are 12 and you can write that I took a break in between, I had kids.
Okay.
And I took a break from research for 2 years. There can be a relaxation of 2 years for a woman scientist. Okay.
I have heard about IGST, I think.
IGST is an organization not represented here right now.
Okay.
But there is that's a DST. It's located in the DST building. Okay, it's not
IDST.
like under that.
It's not that.
None of us are under this. We are all working together under the German's, what is called German Center for Research and Innovation, the DVER, DWIH, but all have individual programs. And IGSTC can have, I am not very sure about that, but the Humboldt Foundation can relax in case you have taken a career break due to childbirth or any other health issue.
Okay.
IGSTC does have, I mean, they have about 6 to 7 different funding options, funding lines which they provide. One of them is, of course, WISER, Women in Science. So, I mean, you need to go to the IGSTC website and look. They have 7 different funding programs which can be made use of.
Okay, thank you.
And it's different from us. I mean, we are representing German organization per se, supported, funded by the German government, whereas IGSTC is a special arrangement between the two governments, the Indian government and the German government, where the funds for the IGSTC comes from the Ministry of Science and Technology, DST, and the German Ministry for Research and Space and Technology. So these two ministries put in funds within IGSTC, and then they have special programs. Their flagship program is 2+2, whereas one academia, one industry has to be involved. And they announce every year they have a thematic area in which you need to apply. Apart from that, they have 5 or 6 different programs, say for workshop, Women in Science, paired fellowship, wherein one goes to the other lab, the other person from that lab comes to your lab. And then they have a small grant, seed grant money, SING. So this kind of small funding they have. So you can always go to their website and have an idea from there.
Okay, thank you.
Because half of the grants come from Germany and the DST funded.
Right.
It's typically located in the DST.
Okay, thank you.
I just came here and said that I am.
Okay, so let's go ahead. I think at the end, when we hear about everything, then there would be questions which will address everything. So next, we have Dr. Vaibhav Agarwal with us. It's a pleasure to introduce him to you all. He has already been speaking to you, but a brief about him. He earned his PhD in infection biology in 2009 from the University of Würzburg. Am I correct? Würzburg. Okay. Germany, as a DAAD scholar. He pursued his postdoc research at Lund University, Sweden. And in 2014, he joined the German Research Foundation India office in New Delhi as a senior scientific officer. Since 2016, he has been serving as the deputy director of the DFG office in India. And since October 21, he is also the chairperson of the local board of German Center for Research and Innovation, DWIH, New Delhi. So Dr. Vaibhav, we are looking forward to hearing from you. Welcome.
Audio तो नहीं है। बस wait. इसको अब अडोप में खोलो। हो जाएगा? ठीक है। First wait करो।
I would request everybody to kindly be seated and least movement in the hall, please. There is too much movement in the hall that disturbs the speaker. So I would request all of you to kindly be seated.
So am I audible also to the people joining online? Okay, great. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Saha. I remember our first interaction was in the online, interaction we had with the faculty members of the MIT, and then we met in Kolkata last year, where he proposed that why don't you come to MIT again? I mean, last year also we were here with the EU delegation where we interacted with your faculty and students. But this time he said that there's going to be a different setup. It would be mainly PhD scholars and maybe postdocs and the faculty members sitting here. So accordingly, we can tailor make our interaction. Just before giving you an insight about what DFG is all about and what we do, are these PhD students sitting at the back rows? You are from the STEM field or also from the social sciences and humanities background? STEM cells, STEM field, all of you. And the faculty members are also from the STEM area. Okay, no issues. Sorry? Okay, okay, mainly STEM. Okay, so I represent an organization called German Research Foundation Deutsche Forschungsgemeinschaft. At the beginning, I'll just like to emphasize that we are a German funding agency, right? So we fund research within Germany. Our funding is restricted within the geographical boundaries of Germany. We don't fund Indian researchers. So that is one thing which I would like to clarify in the beginning, because many times I get a question that we want to do research, will you fund us? So that's not the case, but we do have certain funding lines, certain programs which the faculty members and mainly the PhD students who would eventually finish their PhD and would be looking for a postdoctoral position abroad can make use of, and I'll highlight all those programs that we have. So let me just give you heard about a presentation from DAAD and the Humboldt Foundation, but let me just give you a brief insight into how the German research system or the research landscape looks like. Some of the points might be a repetition of the previous presenters, but just to recap the things. So the German research system is characterized by regional distribution and multidisciplinarity. So when you talk about the research, research is either conducted in public research organizations or in private research organizations. And when it comes to the research, there are multiple research funding organizations. So it's quite federal in the German system. There are multiple players. Just now you heard IGSTC also one of the a player amongst the German funding landscape. So there are multiple players. The idea of us coming here interacting with you is to basically give you an insight so that whenever in future you are thinking of Germany, something clicks and says, yes, we heard about a talk about German funding agencies, and yes, there was this organization, or there were these kinds of funding or research conducting organizations. So moving ahead, when you talk about public research organization, the research is mainly conducted in universities or the universities of applied sciences. Then we have academies of sciences and humanities, just like in India. Then my colleagues also mentioned about non-university research institutions like the Fraunhofer, Max Planck. You will hear from Dr. Segel just after my talk. Helmholtz Society is there, Leibniz Society is there, and these have multiple institutes spread all across Germany. Private sector, yes, Germany is quite proud of the funding coming from the private sector and the research being conducted in the private sector in the industries. And then comes the research funding organizations. So among the research funding organizations, you've already heard from the two of my colleagues from the Humboldt Foundation, from the DAAD, German Academic Exchange Service. I represent another funding organization called DFG. Then, of course, there are federal government and state governments, and also there are a lot of other public-private foundation and association which support research in Germany. Now, this might be slightly confusing. You say, okay, you spoke about DAAD, you spoke about Humboldt Foundation and German Research Foundation. What is the subtle difference between these two? A very, a clear way of distinguishing between the three organizations, although there are a lot of overlaps. There are a lot of overlaps, but just to give a slightly clear picture is that while Humboldt Foundation supports individuals, giving them the Humboldt Fellowships, DAD provides mobility related funding. There are other also programs they do, but mainly mobility related funding, whereas we, German Research Foundation, supports projects, research projects in which individuals could be funded, mobility could be integrated. So moving ahead, giving you an insight about what DFG is all about. We are the by far the largest research funding organization in Europe, supporting basic, fundamental, knowledge-driven research. We have an annual budget of close to 3.9 billion euros, which is approximately, I think, 42,000 crores or so in the Indian context. We fund close to 30,000 projects annually. And we are an association under private law. Even though our Majority of funding comes from the German government, from the federal government, from the state government, and from the private associations. We are independent in the decision making. We follow a bottoms up approach, which means we allow the scientific community to decide what they want to do, when they want to do, what they want to do, where they want to do, how they want to do. There is no so-called thematic preference or a subject area or a priority area which we define, except for one or two separate programs, but majorly it's a bottoms up organic thing wherein the community comes and tells this is what we would like to do, and we support that. We support research in all the subject domains, in all subject areas. We don't have any particular preference from A to Z, from archaeology to zoology, arts, literature, engineering, anything, any subject in which research can be done, a PhD student can be enrolled in, we fund those areas within Germany. And we also understand that research is something which cannot be done in isolation. International collaboration is one of the major parameter which we focus on and we do promote, and we promote in such a way that all our funding programs, all our funding lines have been designed in such a way that the internationalization component or international partner could be integrated into our funding line. So here I'll just summarize the various stages in research collaborations. And as I mentioned, all our fundings are basically, open in all domains. We don't have any special fund or special quota for any particular country. And we fund, we are basically responsible for funding the part of the project which is done in Germany. So when you talk about a research project, when you talk about international collaboration, there are certain stages how you build on your collaboration. You just can't immediately run. You met someone somewhere in a conference, and then overnight you will not say that, okay, I'll write a project proposal with that person, because you have just met. You don't know whether there is a real complementarity between the two of you, whether or not you actually, there is a synergy in which you could make use of. So whenever a research collaboration is thought of, you start from the stage of initiation, where you initiate a collaboration. You can eventually go to intensification phase, where you try to have more in-depth interaction, ultimately leading to individual projects. And maybe at a later stage, you can even go for an institutional level collaboration called as coordinated projects. Let me just give you a very brief, very quickly, what these funding programs are and can be made use of for collaboration with Germany. So the first one is the initiation grant. As the name suggests, this grant is to initiate a collaboration. Here again, I'll reiterate, being a German organization, our funds are for the German side of the research. So here what happens is so for example, if you know somebody within Germany and you are still at the stage where you're not sure about whether or not this is the right group with which I should collaborate, then there is a possibility that the German side applies to DFG and says that, okay, I would like to initiate a collaboration with Professor XYZ from MIT University in Noida, working in this particular domain. So what's included in this is the German side can seek funds for the mobility of the Indian researcher, in this case, somebody from MIT University, to come over to Germany, spend time up to 3 months. He or she can even seek funds for their visit to the partner, partner country or the partner's lab, or you could even seek funds for organizing joint workshops, bilateral workshops. And these workshops can be conducted either in India or in Germany. Consider a situation where you already know someone in Germany, you have already collaborated, but you still have a feeling that a group of individuals in your particular domain, for example, you're working in nanotechnology, if you feel that there are good number of researchers in India in nanotechnology, an equally good number of people in Germany, but there is no intensive interaction between the two groups. and you would like to bring them together, this is very much possible through the funding line called as scientific networks, wherein the German side applies and says, we would like to create a scientific network of researchers working in nanotechnology or nanobiotechnology or a particular, specific thematic area. And we would like to, interact, meet, have deliberations, and maybe later on come up with some unique idea, or maybe a journal article or a policy paper or whatever you want to do. This is very much possible, and the funding is available for the up to 3 years. For 3 years, you could have interactions either in India or in Germany. And the third one is, of course, a normal research grant, typical research grant. Uh, these are these could be either bilateral, wherein the Indian side basically applies to the Indian agency, and the German side applies to the German agency, which is us. And if it is positively evaluated, you get the funds. Or it could be unilateral, wherein the German side applies to us, saying that this is the project proposal which I would like to submit, and I would like to include Professor X from MIT University as my international partner. And what is included is the travel for the international partner, their travel to India, and other basic consumables. Of course, all is possible in this case. I can say here that right now we do not have any call with the Indian agencies. We do collaborate with DST, DBT, ICMR, INSA, and and ICSSR, but we do not have any call except for one in social sciences and humanities with ICSSR. This is an open standing procedure, which means that there is no deadline. As and when the two sides are ready with their proposal, they can submit the proposal. It's an ongoing rolling thing. And what we have with the Department of Science and Technology is a different institutional level collaboration, which I'll be talking about in the next slide. So once you have already crossed the stage of one-on-one interaction, individual interaction, you could think of institutional level interaction. These are possible in form of research unit or international research training group, or even collaborative research centers. And these are multi-PI, project funding programs, which run for not just typical 3 years, but they run for 6 years, 9 years, and even 12 years. And there are definitely possibilities of exploring these fundings. And in case if you are interested, you can always come back to us and we'll be happy to guide you further. Coming to the PhD students who are basically would be eventually looking for a career abroad, we do have funding for the various research careers up to various research career level. We don't support PhD students directly, but PhD students can be enrolled in the DFG funded projects. So if some master student comes and tells, "Oh, does DFG has funding for a PhD position?" We say, "No, we don't have." But you can always enroll in a DFG funded project, as Dr. Anurupa ji mentioned about individual PhDs and structured PhD program. So this is very much possible. So if you are a early career, you have recently submitted your PhD thesis and you're looking for a postdoctoral position, of course, Humboldt Fellowship is the most prestigious fellowship that you could avail. We also have a funding program called as Walter Benjamin program, which allows you to spend time up to 2 years in Germany as a early phase postdoc. At the level of advanced postdoc phase, we do have a funding line called ME Noether program, but this is a program which is basically for the rising stars in the field. It's highly competitive with a success rate of close to 2 to 3% only, but it's a very prestigious fellowship or a program from the DFG side, which allows you to establish your own research group with funding available for up to 5 years. Of course, you need to move to Germany and establish your career over there. That's the prerequisite. Another program what we have is within the individual research grant. Within the individual research grant, we have a program or a funding module called as temporary PI position. So, for example, you have just finished your PhD and looking for a position in abroad, maybe in Germany. You could definitely go for the Walter Benjamin program, or if you are able to find a German host who is willing to support your application, this is a prerequisite. You need to have a German host who is willing to support your application. You should have a project proposal which you would like to submit. Then you could approach DFG and apply for a temporary PI position in which your position is funded if successful for 3 years. So basically for 3 years, your position is secured. You get your own funding to do your own research in the lab over there. Okay, so I basically told you about the individual research grant. We also, Walter Benjamin also was touched upon. Emin Yuthar was also touched upon. Now, this is a very common question which we get. Anuruddhaji also, explained that. Even Professor Chandra also showed. So this is a question which we get thousands of times, that we want to collaborate or we want to find, host in Germany, where to start with. We want to collaborate with German scientists, but we don't know whom to connect with. Can you help us? So our simple answer is, sorry, we do not do matchmaking. We don't help you in identifying your potential host or a collaborator, but what we can do is we can share some databases with you. These are the databases. One of them is GERIT, another one is GEPRIS. GERIT is a database of German research institutions, whereas GEPRIS is the database of DFG funded projects. In both of these databases, these are very simple to use. Just go there, type your keywords, and it will give you the list of German researchers or German institutions where the research in that particular field is being conducted or is happening. In GEPRIS, it will give you the list of German scientists and their projects which have been funded by DFG. It will give you the abstract of the project as well. That will also give you an idea of what is the person currently working on. Of course, publications are one of the key, bases in which you identify the, the kind of work which is being done. But understand, the publications are usually 6 to 8 months or 10 months prior work which is being published. So what's ongoing right now in the research group, you could find out through GEPRIS, because these are the research projects that have been funded and ongoing or have already been completed. So with this information, I'll stop here. So the Delhi office, unfortunately, is getting cut. But the Delhi office is headed by Dr. Franziska Langer. She is the remote director. She sits in Bonn, where our head office is located, close to where Humboldt and next to DAD's office. I'm here in Delhi office as a deputy, and we also have a colleague, Urmila Gupta, and another colleague. We are a very small office in Delhi, but we would be happy to take your questions, answer your questions, and if you have any queries, any doubt, you can always come back to us. We are also available on LinkedIn, where we keep on giving latest updates on what DFG is doing with examples and programs. There are also online, webinars which are being conducted by the DFG head office about various funding programs, about the Walter Benjamin or Emin Yuthar or other funding lines that we have. You can always join us on LinkedIn, and so that you are, up to date with all the information. And with this, I'll just end here, and thank you very much. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer, maybe now or even later on, once the last speaker is also through with the presentation. Thank you very much.
Any question from anyone? I have a question, Dr. Weber. I'm sorry. So in the research grants that you showed, so in that case, the German counterpart has to apply separately, and the Indian counterpart has to apply separately, like a bilateral call?
No. If the bilateral call is open, which is we don't have right now in the STEM field. What is open right now is with the Indian Council for Social Science Research in Social Science and Humanities. Here the arrangement is such that the German side submits the proposal to DFG in the DFG format, and the Indian side will submit to ICSSR in the ICSSR format.
And both the proposals will have to go through for the funding to come.
Exactly.
So if one goes through and one doesn't, does it happen like that?
It does. Many times it does happen. But on the German side, we always encourage the applicant to come back again. So we will not say that now that it's rejected, you can't come back. You can always, because we share the detailed review comments with the applicant so that they will know, they'll understand where the issues were, and they can work it out, and they can come back to us again with the proposal.
And in though the formats are different, but the proposal has to be the same.
The content.
What they are doing there, it won't be different.
No. See, the content.
different form.
Exactly. The content, the major content, the should remain the same. The objectives will differ on the Indian side and the German side. Definitely they will differ. The budget will definitely differ on the each side. So that portion, of course, needs to be adjusted to the requirement. But the body of the proposal should remain the same.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Any question from anybody? Thank you, Doctor. Yes.
So our final speaker for this highly informative workshop is Dr. Poonam Sehgal Suri, who is working in the field of science management for the past 18 years. She is a representative of Max Planck Gesellschaft in India and Southeast Asia, where she is dedicated to strengthening Indo-German scientific collaborations and expanding cooperation between Max Planck Society and scientific organizations in Southeast Asia. In her current role, Dr. Suri brings expertise in international scientific cooperation, education policy analysis, and execution of high-impact programs. She also plays a key role in alumni engagement and in fostering strategic partnerships between India and German research institutions. I would request Dr. Poonam to kindly.
Thank you for the introduction. Also, thank you, Professor Saha, for inviting us today. Third. I know I am in between lunch. Being the last presenter, I'll try to be very quick. I'm sure many of you have already heard about Max Planck Society at some place. So, my colleagues, both Anurupa, Dr. Chandra, Professor Chandra, and Dr. Agarwal, they have already mentioned about the German higher education system, which is very comprehensive yet differentiated. So universities, they mostly teach, and major scientific research organizations, they majorly conduct research. So there are like 4 kind of institutions: Max Planck Society, which conducts basic research; Fraunhofer Society, which conducts applied research; Helmholtz Society, they provide basically large research infrastructure and they work towards specific projects; and Leibniz Association, which basically conducts research on societal issues. We are non-for-profit organization. We are successor of Kaiser Wilhelm Society. Our current president is Professor Patrick Kramer. We have about 84 research institutions in Germany, 4 research institutions abroad. We are amongst top 15 organizations and the only German organization in Nature Publishing Index. We are named after Max Planck, and our guiding principles are basically the research at Max Planck Institute is strictly curiosity driven and quality oriented. We believe in scientific autonomy, which means that our scientists, they decide on their science. We also believe in Harnack principle. So people, not programs. Our institutes are designed around the research interest of our directors. Our directors, they choose their own core team, their research partners worldwide. And as a result, we received 31 Nobel laureates since our inception, and last few years have been extremely lucky for us. Where we are in Germany, well, all around Germany, we work very closely with the universities. So we cannot award degrees being a research institution. So our directors, they have a dual position. They also have a position at the university, and they are the director of our institute. So students who do their PhD at our institutes, they get their degrees from the local university. This is how we categorize ourselves. I know most of you would be thinking that we give only 10% of funding to humanities and social sciences, so maybe it's not important, but it is as important as other 2 sections. It's just that when you conduct research in the field of humanities and social sciences, then you don't require large equipments. So basically you save a lot of money there. That's why less amount of funding goes to humanities and social sciences. but it is as important as biology and medicine section and chemistry, physics, and technology section. These are the various fields. So you can see we are doing everything right from microbiology to plant sciences, physiology, cell biology. We are into drug research. When it comes to chemistry, physics, and technology section, so astronomy, astrophysics, mathematics, complex systems, particle physics, plasma physics. And when it comes to humanities and social sciences, again, we are doing law, cognitive research, and linguistics. And for Max Planck Law, we also have like a separate entity. So we have about 8 institutions which are working with different topics of law. So there is comparative law, innovation and competence, which basically looks into research related to patenting. So they are not applying for patent, but they are studying science behind the patent. So we believe strongly that internationality is the central most characteristic of research. And numbers, they speak for itself. So you can see nearly 40% of our directors, they are non-Germans. About 50% of our research group leaders, they do not have a German passport. And about 78% of our postdocs, they are not from Germany again. And the same is the case for PhD and visiting researchers. So working language at Max Planck, majority it's English, because many of our directors, they don't even know German that well. They have administrative staff to support them with local issues. This is, so if we have such strong numbers, then we must be having certain things in place. So this is how we attract international young academics. So we have IMPRS, which are like International Max Planck Research Schools, Max Planck Schools, possibility of individual doctorate. So what are International Max Planck Research Schools? So now you have already heard about structured PhD and non-structured PhD, traditional PhD. So these are like structured PhD programs where an institute works on a certain topic, and we have 67 such IMPRS where we recruit students. The calls are announced annually. Some institutes, they have 2 intakes, so April and October. Some institutes have 1 intake. So we are completely decentralized kind of management. So our institutes, they decide on their own timelines and so on. So for each institute, it's a different timeline, so I cannot put it here. Where we are again, then all around Germany, where our institutes are. This is relatively a new program, Max Planck Schools. They only started in 2018. We have only 3 Max Planck schools, one in the field of cognition, matter to life, and photonics. We are going to launch a new school in the field of AI this year. And we have received funding for that from Dieter Schwartz Foundation completely. So Max Planck schools, they are fairly a large network where several institutions like Fraunhofer Society, Leibniz Society, Helmholtz, several universities, they are taking place together and they are working commonly towards one topic, and they have lab rotation. So students may spend 6 months at one university, 2 months probably at an institute, then 3 months at some other institute, and so on. So just to give you an impression, so you can see for Max Planck School of Cognition, we have 11 Max Planck institutes, 14 universities, Charité University, Helmholtz Institution, and Fraunhofer Institution working together. In case you are not, like your students are not able to identify like a possibility of IMPRS or Max Planck schools, then there is always a possibility to go for individual doctorates. Then postdoctoral is a very, very important like domain for us, because we have several programs where we attract postdocs from all around the world. And you can refer to the job board, which is here. We have also launched recently last year a Max Planck postdoc program. The call is announced every year, and like twice a year. So once in March, and the deadline is generally 14th April, and once in August, and deadline is 15th September.
So you get about 6 weeks to apply for this call. However, I always suggest that one should prepare the application beforehand and just fine tune it when the call is announced, because the 6 months they pass by very quickly. We are not a funding organization, we are a research organization, but we have funding mechanism to support research at our own institutes. So we have something called Max Planck Kickoff Workshop. So if you are working closely with any of the Max Planck Society scientists, then you can apply, or your host in Germany can apply for a Max Planck Kickoff Workshop, which can be organized here in India. No prior engagement is required. It could be just to kick off something new or just to get to know each other. And we give money for money, like, so we give about 20,000 euros to conduct these kickoff workshops. Then we have Max Planck India Mobility Grant. So this is basically, so generally when we hear about mobility grant, we think that it's only for once, like, you just go there and the grant is over. But with this grant, you get a grant for 3 years, which means that you can spend 1 month for 3 consecutive years. And one has to be within 10 years of PhD to apply for this grant and should have a host in Germany. I think for most of the funding programs, you do require a host in Germany, at least a confirmation that if the funding is approved, they are willing to host you. Then in India, we always hear about term brain drain. At Max Planck, we believe in brain circulation, which means that people who have been trained at our institute, when they return to their home country, if they have spent at least 6 months to 1 year at our institute, it could be either in one go or it could be in several small visits, but in aggregate, it should at least be 1 year. At times, if you are academically really strong, we also consider if somebody has spent only 6 months, then the person is given a funding of 100,000 euros for a period of 5 years and additional 20,000 euros to conduct a workshop. So 120,000 euros for conducting your research here in India. We want our scientists to focus on science. We have a separate entity called Max Planck Innovation, which basically looks into technology transfers, spin-offs, licensing, and so on, so that our scientists, they can just focus on their science. And most of the time we hear that basic science probably does not lead to market-oriented product, but I'm sure you all have heard about decaffeinated coffee or paternity test. They were all result of research that took place at Max Planck Institute. On this note, I would like to just mention that India is a very important partner for us. We hosted about 1,500 researchers at our institutes in 2024. We have one Indian Max Planck director, and we have recently established 2 new Max Planck centers here in India, one at IIT Madras and one at TIFR. We also had previously 2 other centers, one at NCBS and one at IIT Delhi. These are my contact details. If you have any question now or you want to approach me later, then you can always get in touch with me. Thank you. So do we have any questions? Or you want us to take all the questions in one go? I think then we would save some time. Yeah. Okay, thank you once again. Yeah.
So now that we have heard all of you, I think one question would be coming to everybody's mind. We need to now distinguish what is what, the different scholarships. As you said, Vaibhav, I think he has already spoken about it, that the first 2 that we talked about, the DAAD and the Humboldt, these are individual scholarships, while the DFG was project-related scholarship, and Max Planck. Now, what is Max Planck? Is it also an individual scholarship, or it is a, I mean, how do you place Max Planck? Okay.
So when it comes to scholarship, all the students who go to Max Planck Institute for their PhD, they are completely funded. So we have IMPR and CRAF with which they are completely funded, but some students who go for individual doctorates, they can also apply to DAD for funding. And at times our directors, they have their own funding. They can also fund individual PhD students on their own. Then postdoc again is completely funded by us, or they can get a grant and do postdoc with us. We have limited funding possibilities because we are a research organization.
So if I'm a recent postdoc, just completed my PhD, now where should I apply? And I would like to go to a Max Planck Institute, for example. Now, should I apply to Max Planck or should I apply to DAD? How should I do? Yeah. What has to be my, how can you guide me in that?
Yeah. So there are two ways about it. One, you apply to the professor, the director, or whoever you are interested in the Max Planck Society. And if he or she, they have money, they will give you they generally have a Max Planck Fellowship, which is a postdoctoral fellowship. But the grant belongs to the institute. And there is no screening, nothing. You'll get a letter. Probably you will be interviewed over Skype or whatever. It's an individual based. I am an example of a Humboldt fellow who worked with the director of a Max Planck in the Max Planck Institute. So this is how it works. You can get a Humboldt fellowship and work at the Max. You can work at the Max Planck, get a Max Planck fellowship, for which you do not have to face that competition. If the professor is interested in you, he will offer you the fellowship. My professor, even before I got the Humboldt fellowship, we met at a conference. I had already applied without seeing him. We had agreed and applied whatever the procedure was. I did not recognize him, but he recognized me because at that time Indian women in physics were really rare. And he saw me and he said that you are Amita Chandra, you have applied with me. In case you do not succeed in the Humboldt fellowship, I give you the Max Planck fellowship. That's how it's given. Okay, right. Correct. That is correct. Not. So that's also, but it's slightly, I would have been slightly less richer because, the Humboldt really floods you with all kinds of the pamper.
So the most attractive is Humboldt. That's what. The most attractive in terms of finances is Humboldt.
Not only finances. If you're anywhere in the world you go and they find out that you're a Humboldt fellow, there's more money, more than money in that. But Humboldt fellowship is 500 in the whole world. Yeah, but it's not. No. Yeah. Correct. That is correct. You said you have 1,000 or something. PhD scholars and but that is not only for India. Yeah, around the world. That's 500 around the world. So actually, we have 7 IITs. Like if we are taking even 200 about So I am there only for PhD. And we have about we have about 50,000
If I may just add, I mean, Humboldt Fellowship is the most prestigious fellowship that Germany provides, right? But these are not the only option. There are multiple options. So one is, of course, the professor can give from his own kitty to support, right? DFG has this Walter Benjamin program wherein they can go for a postdoc position for 2 years. It's a fellowship again, right? Not as prestigious as Humboldt, but it's also a mechanism. So it's also a mechanism of doing a postdoc. Apart from that, one of our funding line, which is called the research grant, normal 3-year research grant. Within those research grant, there is a module called temporary PI position, wherein you come with your own money to support your own position. Now, I'll ask all the faculty member here, if some student comes and tells you, I have my own CSIR, UGC, NET or ICMR fellowship, I would like to join your lab. Will you say no? You will not say no, because your project money is not getting exhausted. The person is coming with his or her own money. Same holds true across the globe. If a PhD student who is looking for a postdoc says, I would like to join your research group and I'll come with my own fellowship or my own funding, nobody will say no to you. Except your credentials are not up to the mark, but nobody will say no. Then there are multiple mechanisms. Apart from that, Marie Curie Sklodowska Fellowship is also there from the European Union. So there are mechanisms. One need to explore which one fits well, and there is also no restriction that if you applied for this, you can't apply for that. But you need to to basically plan it accordingly and not just wait for the last moment and then think. Plan it. Those students who are doing their PhD, probably even if you're in the first year or second year, you still have a couple of more years to finish. This is the time that you should plan your future and think what you would like to do 3 year hence, 2 year hence. So the whole purpose of this interaction is to make you aware that yes, these are the possibilities which we could explore.
I just wanted to add that like BAD has a sandwich program. We don't have a sandwich program, but students who are doing their PhD, they can always go to Mastermind for 6 months to do a part of their research. If their research topic is interesting for our directors or research, they will find it.
Okay, now I just wanted to ask now, supposing you have a scientist in India, can be from any area, STEM or the social sciences, who happens to be excellent, but their research question is something which is endemic to India itself. So how, in that case, are there any opportunities, and they probably want to use the resources in a German university in terms of the AI setup or some other setup? What are the chances?
Zero. Because somebody in Germany has to have interest in your work. Even if they don't do it, they have to show the letter of intention that they're
okay. So if somebody shows, I mean, if a German counterpart is not in the same area, but is probably fascinated by what this person is proposing, then
there is a possibility.
There is a possibility.
But you cannot just land there that I have this grant and I will do this work without the professor's consent. There is no way of you entering that.
So I agree with you, but so there are many speakers in countries who are legally professional only
Yeah.
That's possible.
Yeah.
Somebody has to.
Yes.
So like we have Max Planck Institute for Legal Research in Stanford, and they are interested in legal history in Commonwealth countries. And India being one of the Commonwealth countries, it is of utmost interest to them. And we are going to launch a new center on 23rd of June just to promote legal history in India. So if the topic is interesting, it is of scientific interest to a faculty or a researcher in Germany, then again, it is possible.
But eventually it'll be is it only the German counterpart or the scientist in Germany who decides? Or is it basically it's a committee which will then decide the merit of
what funding you are looking at.
Supposing it's a Humboldt. Now, supposing the person is asking for a Humboldt fellowship, and the topic, like I said, is something which is very India-centric, and but the German counterpart is also fascinated by the topic. Maybe it's some ancient Indian language or something or the other. Then, in that case, how does it proceed?
It's a two-step process actually. First, you get in touch with your German counterpart that you want to do this in the Germanic languages, history, whatever. And then they send a consent. Yes, we are also interested. Please come. And they'll send a letter of consent. That facilities will be provided of that institution to you should you get that permission. Then you send in your application. The application will be posted within Germany for peer review. But also to other countries it can be sent. Like some of us in India also get applications from the foundation to review. It's kind of paper review. Then we say yes, can be reviewed. It's a pre-screening kind of thing. And then that is put, it's physically the selection committee meets. The photo that I showed you next to the foundations building, where people were sitting, was the selection committee going on. So about 20 to 30 people sit in a room for 3 days, thrice a year, and decide on which applicant has to, because the pre-screening has been done. So that is the normal procedure. No interviews, nothing, only your, whatever the documents that you have submitted.
Thank you.
My question is for my question is to Dr. Poonam. It's about MPIMG grant. Is it as you mentioned already? Is it for mobility grant from Indian faculty to Germany? I was wondering if is it open for teaching or it's only for the research. I mean, the faculty can get a chance. Oh, it's only for the research. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
You can apply for a guest lecturership program, which can be for 6 months to 2 years. So you teach there. But the application comes from the German university. We cannot apply yourself. And basically very high level dean or some vice chancellor level of person at the university will recommend you. Then the DAD funds for maximum of 4 semesters, that is 2 years, minimum of 1 semester.
That is for the DAD.
Right. No deadline, one has to check because I think one has to check because there's something like that. But you can, all of that is on a scholarship database. But if you still have questions, write to our info ID. We will then forward it to the colleague who handles this.
There are Indian professors who go to teach in German universities every semester, but they are funded and they're also funded by DAAD. But then the application has come from the German university that whatever you teach is what they require and they do not have the local expertise for that. Some special subject or semester that they want to run. So I have several times met such people in Germany who are coming every year to take that course every semester, or some specialized course.
Ma'am, to get these fellowships, firstly, we need the consent from the professor from the German university. We need a host there. And if they have project that,
then you don't need to apply for
okay. After getting the consent, then I'll register in this fellowship. I'm like bit confused.
Like we have this MaxPack postdoc program where the call is announced. Yeah, or IMPRS program where the call is announced, where we are inviting applications. Then you do not require a confirmation from host because the call is being announced, and if you clear everything, then you will get the funding and so on. You'll have a position. But if you apply for individual doctorate or individual postdoc, yeah, when you apply for Humboldt fellowship or even like PDS at Max Planck Institute where no call is announced, then you require a confirmation.
In consideration of that, I have one question. So if somebody is applying through ILPRS, okay, a postdoc or a doctoral student, only post for a PhD. Now you said if they apply to, when you open the call, they apply through the call. Now, in the call, is it only their CV and publications and all of that, or do they also have to give a research proposal and you match the? So you match the if they go through the entire selection process and they are selected. So Max Planck would then map their research proposal with the people who are available. How do they then get the host? Okay. Because the call is very area specific, expertise. Okay, okay. Got it. So it's not an open call like people from different backgrounds. And I think for INCRS, you need a master. Yeah. The PhD topic should match the There's a question there.
Ma'am, if someone has pursued postdoc from Germany, what are the chances of getting permanent citizenship there?
But you also have good chances of getting a good job there. No. Citizenship is a very dicey thing. You have to qualify in many other ways besides your postdoctoral experience. There are other criteria for any country to grant a citizenship. A postdoctoral fellowship, a fellowship alone cannot give you a citizenship. So that's the wrong way to go about it. ये रास्ता सही नहीं लग रहा है आपका हमको. आपको need to work there to earn a certain amount. You have a certain amount as the income, and maybe after 8 years. Not only that, you then qualify a test which is based on your knowledge of Germany, its history and its geography, and the language. There are many steps to get the German citizenship or any. I'm not sure about other countries, but there are many steps. Or yeah, so the history, geography, वो सब भी आपको पढ़नी पड़ेगी, language भी आनी पड़ेगी, कुछ अपना track record भी दिखाना पड़ेगा, और आप कोई और रास्ता ढूंढिए.
Okay, ma'am.
वो भी नहीं, वो भी नहीं. You are not a naturalized, even if you're born there, you're not a naturalized German citizen, no.
I have a question for Dr. Poonam as well as for Dr. Vaibhav. Suppose there is a DFG funded project there and I'm doing PhD here and I want to visit there as a visiting researcher. So if I talk to that PI who has a funded DFG project or someone in Max Planck, so can I go there as a visiting researcher for like 6 months?
Nobody will stop you if the professor says yes, come, and I will fund you.
Okay, so there is fund for.
It's this money has been given to them. They will decide what they want to do with the money, how they want to spend the money.
Thank you so much.
So German professor has to know what is the caliber. Why should he or she write to them? I mean, you have to sell yourself. And if you are sold to the professor, then you go there. Then the professor pays you, not otherwise. Difficult.
My only question was that if they have the fund for funding someone from.
Technically, it's possible, but then criteria need to be fulfilled, where none of us can, help you with that. It could be a direct communication between you and the professor.
Thank
you. Hi, good afternoon. I have a very small thing and I apologize. I missed part of your speech. If you have covered this, please excuse me. So after NEP 2020 in India, a 4-year BSc with honors and research degree is eligible for doing PhD. That's not in any other country. So does German institutes allow? Masters chahiye. So they have to do 1 year MSc further to get the license done. MS, that is MS. MS or in India. 12 plus 5.
Thanks to all the esteemed speakers for providing such an in-depth and elaborated description on the research and funding opportunities in Germany. And also, I would like to thank our esteemed session chairs for conducting such an interactive and enlightening panel discussion process. Now, I will request Professor V. Pooja, Professor Vishwajit Saha, and Professor Puniti Mathur ma'am for felicitation of Mrs. Anurupa Dikshit. Requesting Professor V. Pooja, Professor Saha, and Professor Simran to felicitate Professor Amita Chandra. I would like to request Professor V. Pooja, Professor Saha, and Professor Amit Thardwal to please felicitate Dr. Vaibhav Agarwal. Request Professor O.P. Sinha sir to please join the felicitation of Dr. Poonam Sehgal Suri. Thank you. Now, coming to the end of our session, today's insightful discussions and deliberations on various fellowship programs, research grants, and collaborative opportunities available in Germany through the Germanic Academic Exchange Service DAT, the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation, the German Research Foundation, DFG, and the Max Planck Society have been highly informative, enriching, and noteworthy. We sincerely hope that this session has provided valuable awareness and a deeper understanding to these prestigious opportunities. Further, it will inspire many of our young faculty members and research scholars to actively apply and get benefited from these programs. We would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to the esteemed speakers, Mrs. Anurupa Dikshit, Program Officer, DAT, New Delhi, Professor Amita Chandra, the first Alexander von Humboldt Ambassador Scientist in India, Dr. Vaibhav Agarwal, Deputy Director, DFG, and Dr. Poonam Sehgal Suri from Max Planck Society for delivering such an informative and engaging session for our faculty and research scholars. We extend deepest respect and gratitude to our Honorable Founder President, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, Chancellor Dr. Atul Chauhan, Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Valvinder Shukla for their constant support, guidance, and encouragement. Heartfelt thanks to the additional Pro Vice Chancellor and Dean, Biosciences and Biotechnology, Dr. Chandradeep Tandon, for his valuable guidance and support in organizing this workshop. We express our sincere appreciation to Professor V. Pooja, Director, Amity Institute of Biotechnology, for her leadership in successfully conducting the sessions. We are equally grateful to Professor Puniti Mathur, Deputy Director, AIB, and Professor Simran Tandon, Director, Research, IMSR, for their excellent moderation of the sessions. We would like to thank our center head, Professor Sudeep Bose, for his contributions, support, and guidance. Sincere thanks to Professor Vishwajit Saha for his initiative and constant efforts in organizing this highly informative and enriching workshop. Our thanks to entire administrative team for their timely assistance and to the IT department for ensuring seamless technical support. Finally, I would extend our gratitude to all the participants, faculty members, PhD scholars, and master students for their enthusiastic and interactive participation. Thank you all.